Hello, first tonight, with just weeks to go until another right-wing protest in the region, council leaders call on the Home Secretary for support.
The English Defence League is planning to march through Luton early next month. Council leaders believe it could result in serious disorder and have written to Theresa May asking her to support a potential banning order. But some people believe banning the march is not the answer.
The English Defence League first took to Luton streets in the wake of the Royal Anglians' homecoming protest. But even then, their stated intention to show support for the troops was overshadowed by violence. In the 2 years since, their numbers have swelled to thousands, and despite marches all around the country, this will be their homecoming.
I've always been trouble with these people anyway, so I wish that can be banned.
We wouldn't want to have the EDL come here and cause riots and that.
Controversial plans for the American preacher Terry Jones to attend were abandoned, but Luton was once again in the spotlight, and it's only got worse.
A community in shock as police searched the home of a suspected terrorist.
In 2009, marches were banned for 3 months, but it didn't stop the violence. Even so, Luton's councillors say it's time to ban them again.
The thing is, if they ban that, then the council have got the right to ban all other marches as well. So I think it's a good idea. Let them march, let the police control it, and it'll be more safer for everyone like that.
To get the marches banned, the council, in conjunction with the police, would have to prove that EDL's main intention was to cause serious disruption and major intimidation. And there's no evidence for that. Even if it could be proved, they still couldn't stop the rally from going ahead.
We've seen from the statistics, when you do ban on marches, you basically take away an element, a key element of the demonstration, and from that the logistics of the whole demonstration crumble, and you do get a lot of trouble.
It's a view that was echoed by Cambridgeshire police at last month's Peterborough protest.
We considered banning the march, but actually we've tried to facilitate it so we can control where the location is and conditions around that, including numbers and restrictions.
Peterborough saw a handful of arrests. Leicester, who did ban the march, more than 30. Nikki Jenkins, BBC Look East in Luton.
Well, earlier I spoke to Councillor David Franks, who's the leader of the Liberal Democrats on Luton Borough Council. I started by asking him what he and his colleagues were trying to achieve with their letter, as they were not actually requesting a ban.
If a formal request is made, it would have to come from both the council and the local police. The council wouldn't do it on its own. The whole point of the letter, really, I guess you could call it a sort of softening up exercise, to make sure that Theresa May, the Home Secretary, is fully aware of the local background and the local feelings, so that if a formal request is made, then hopefully she'd be able to deal with it fairly quickly.
Would you like a formal request to be made, or is this a bit of political posturing to say, look, we did our best?
No, it's not political posturing. And would I like a ban? This is the most difficult question of all to answer, isn't it? You're walking on a tightrope all of the time. The arguments whether a ban would make things better or worse, it's impossible. I mean, as a Liberal Democrat, I clearly support people's right to peacefully demonstrate. And I would support that right in situations where I fundamentally disagree with what the demonstration is about. But then, on the other hand, when you do have people who appear to be deliberately provoking a violent reaction, you've got to ask yourself whether they should be allowed to do that, without being challenged. It's a very, very difficult question.
When EDL marched in Peterborough, there were very few arrests, very little problem. Do you think there's a difference in Luton, given the climate at the moment?
Well, I'm not sure that it's anything to do with the climate. The difference is probably more to do with scale, isn't it? I mean, the EDL are saying 7,000 people they expect to bring to the town. There are at least 2 opposition groups, if you like, who are currently saying they will also come to Luton. At the moment, my instant sort of reaction is to work with the police to try and ensure that both demonstrations can take place peacefully, which means they've obviously got to be kept separate in order to minimise the possibilities of violence. And I mean, none of us want violence.
Councillor David Franks speaking to Susie late this afternoon.